First and foremost, John McAfee didn't kill himself, and now that we've got that very obvious fact out of the way, John McAfee, software pioneer, turned fugitive, dead at 75. What a wild motherfucking life this guy lived, okay? McAfee, you probably recognize the last name, mostly because he was the guy who created, if not from the ground up, he was the guy who popularized at least the antivirus software. Yes, the antivirus software. That is the basis of everything that's out there. What, you got Bitdefender, you've got, what, Norton Antivirus. All of their framework, that's all straight from the mind of this guy, okay? What did he do? Well, 15, 20 years ago, he cashed out, sold McAfee to Intel, and went on to live the life that only a 15-year-old boy could dream of, okay? Drugs, hookers, yachts, billions of dollars, guns, homes in Belize, doing literally anything he wanted at all times and posting some of the funniest fucking content out onto YouTube that you could possibly find. And the fact that he's dead at 75 years old after having a whole bunch of tattoos and information out there saying that he would never, ever, ever kill himself, and that it would definitely be a hit if he was ever found to have committed suicide, really gets the noggin jogging. But let's see what the normie press has to say about this. John McAfee, the outlandish security software pioneer who tried to live a life of a hedonistic outsider while running from a host of legal troubles, was found dead in a jail cell near Barcelona on Wednesday. His death came just hours after a Spanish court announced that he had approved his extradition to the United States to face tax charges punishable by decades in prison, authorities say. Okay, you know why he was normally just on the run while he was out in international waters for the better part of, oh my god, for years at this point? Because he was alleged, okay, and this is another one of these fucking bonkers ass situation, just... he's an eccentric guy, and I wouldn't necessarily say he should be a role model for anybody, but it's the funniest life you can think of. This, not so much funny, but the situation surrounding it is. He's alleged to be connected to a murder, okay, in Belize, okay? He had this huge mansion, he had a whole bunch of dogs, he had a whole bunch of whores, he had a whole bunch of coke, and his dogs would bark at all hours of the night because people were coming in and out of his house at, you know, all hours of the night. And then, I might be getting some details wrong, but for the most part I got this correct. His neighbors started to take issue with that, and especially with the dogs barking at, you know, all hours of the night. He ended up killing one of the dogs, okay, poisoning its food or something like that. And not that long after that, said neighbor turned up dead. And not long after that, McAfee cashed out of his mansion and went on the run because if you've heard any stories about a Belizean jail, you wouldn't want to be there yourself. So, hence why he was out and about for the longest time until, yeah, he found himself in a Spanish prison. He had originally been on the run because of tax issues, not unlike that of Wesley Snipes a long time ago. Shit that he could have beat, okay? That would have been the maximum sentence for him. The couple of years in prison, so not necessarily something that you'd want to hang yourself voluntarily in your prison cell over. McAfee, who is among other things a cryptocurrency promoter, tax opponent, US presidential candidate, and fugitive, all-around fun guy. Now, there's a whole bunch of stuff that I'm glossing over, and I don't even know the whole lot of it. All I did is see this, think something bad was happening, especially because he might have some links and he might have some dirt because he was doing some digging on Epstein himself. That involved the Clintons and people who are in prison, in maximum security prisons, that don't really have a good track record when it comes to, you know, allowing their prisoners to kill themselves and then magically they turn up dead. That's a little bit fucking weird, right? So the story gets my noggin jogging, and that's why I said, in case, you know, this has been recorded a couple of days in advance, so if there's more information that comes out on this, you bet sweet ass I'm going to be fucking updating on this, because this story is very, very weird, very, very tragic for multiple reasons, but it's just a treasure trove of total insanity. In 2012, he sought for questioning in connection with a murder of his neighbor in Belize, but was never charged with a crime. Exactly, that's one of the stories that I laid out for you guys as well. McAfee's body was discovered at the Brains 2 penitentiary in southeastern Spain. Security personnel tried to revive him, but the jail's medical team finally certified his death. A statement from the regional Catalan government said, "A judiciary delegation has arrived to investigate the cause of death," the statement read. "Everything points to death by suicide." Yeah, where have we heard that before? McAfee's death was confirmed after Spain's national court ruled in favor of extraditing McAfee, 75 years old, who had argued in a hearing earlier this month that the charges against him by prosecutors in Tennessee were politically motivated and that he could spend the rest of his life in prison if returned to the United States. Obviously, he's 75. He could face upwards of decades in prison. And to be fair and to be honest, he's right up against the normal life expectancy. And if you factor in all the hookers and blow that he's ingested in the previous decades, yeah, he was coming close to the end. That's what makes this extra weird. Court's ruling was made public on Wednesday and was open for appeal, with any final extradition order also needing to get approval from the Spanish cabinet. McAfee was arrested last October at Barcelona's International Airport and had been in jail since then, awaiting the outcome of the extradition proceedings. The arrest followed charges the same month in Tennessee for evading taxes after failing to report income from promoting cryptocurrencies while he did consulting work, made speaking engagements, and sold rights to his life story for a documentary. The criminal charges carried a prison sentence of up to 30 years. It's very interesting. While somebody who hasn't had residence in Tennessee for, oh my god, quite a long time, would be prosecuted on tax charges. Interesting. Who else was caught by the feds on tax charges? Somebody who they couldn't really pin anything on, that they wanted to get a hold of, and then turned up dead not that long after. Just some more shady shit, and history is orchestrated by the likes of the IRS. The man was Al Capone, by the way. Kudos if you got it. Nishay-san, the Chicago... Oh my god, I didn't even plan that. Based attorney defending him on those cases said by phone that McAfee will always be remembered as a fighter. Something about that tells me that that's just a little bit of an undercover message. He tried to love this country, but the United States government made his existence impossible, Sanan said. They tried to erase him, but they failed. It's weird, right? The whole rest of this is just... kind of a backstory about some of his life story, developing antivirus software. Also, making 2 presidential runs under the Libertarian Party, even participated in the debates in 2016, dabbled in yoga, ultralight aircrafts, and the production of herbal medications. We know what that means. McAfee told the AP at the time that he was being prosecuted by the Belizean government. Belizean police denied that, saying that they were simply investigating a crime about which McAfee may have had information. Okay, so if he was saying that he was questioned by the Belizean police, and you took that as being persecuted by the Belizean officials, I think we're just having a little bit of a miscommunication error, because I don't see any lies detected other than a couple of different vocabulary lapses between the two. So you really want to paint him as being just some kind of a tragic figure. Oh no, this is what happens when a hedonistic lifestyle just goes wrong and just completely falls off the rails when you're 75 years old. Well, let's not bring up the fact that he had a I will never commit suicide tattoo on his arms. How do you reconcile that? How do you reconcile having a whole bunch of posts out there saying that he's actually fine in jail? Things are fine for him. He'll be able to get through this. Don't worry about it. I have terabytes full of data that will be released to government officials. I need to back that one up, but I'm hearing that kind of claim as well. Like I said, this is gonna get a little bit fucking weird. McAfee once said, if he was ever found dead in suicide, he didn't kill himself. You don't say. British-American computer programmer and businessman John McAfee, who was found dead in his jail cell near Barcelona on June 23rd, had a whacked tattoo on his right arm, and claimed that if he is ever found dead by suicide, he did not kill himself. On December 1st, 2019, the creator of McAfee Antivirus Software posted an image on Twitter in which he accused the officials of the United States government of sending him threats through subtle messages. Okay, could he be a little bit paranoid for this? Perhaps, but we don't know. On June 23rd, McAfee reportedly killed himself just hours after he was announced that he would be extradited to the United States. Nothing really has been pointed out that he was any more paranoid about being extradited to the United States than he was for being in a prison cell in Spain or being prosecuted by Belizean police. None of this stuff is really adding up. Okay, a local newspaper El País reported that the 75-year-old tech pioneer is reported to have taken his own life in Barcelona prison. However, 2 years ago, McAfee had already claimed that the reason behind his whacked tattoo is the constant threat that he had been receiving from the United States. He had written in the caption, getting subtle messages from the United States officials saying, in effect, "We're coming for you, McAfee. We're going to kill you," he wrote. He added, "I got a tattoo today, just in case if I suicide myself. I didn't. I was whacked. Check my right arm." As you can see, there it is. Very nice. John McAfee referenced Jeffrey Epstein and suicide. Uh-oh. The whack tattoo is not the only time McAfee cited his suicide in a cryptic tweet. On October 15th, 2020, the software tycoon said that if he had been found hanged behind bars, like convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein, it would be no fault of mine. He said in the tweet last year, "I am content in here. I have friends. The food is good. All is well." I guess he made some really good friendships over there in Spain, and then because he was going to get extradited to the United States, he wouldn't have said relationships there, and he was just so torn up that he ended up hanging himself. Very, very interesting. Very, very interesting. I don't know, man. We've just seen corruption when it comes to the political system, so I wouldn't put anything past anyone. The only thing that I would say, whole stop, until we get to the bottom of this, McAfee didn't kill himself. Let's talk about sports next. A little bit of a lighter tone, but just as much of a tale about suicide. I thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Catch y'all later.